Hey guys, welcome back. So interview season is well and truly here, and here are the top 10 tips that you need to know to secure your dental school offer. This video is also kindly sponsored by MedicMind, so more on them later. So the first tip is that when you want to prepare for your university, you want to make sure that it's university specific. This is because not every single university prioritizes each thing in the same way. So some universities might care more about your motivation for dentistry. Some of them might want to hear more about your reflections on your work experience. Some of them care more about empathy and stuff like that. So you want to make sure when you're doing your research that you know which universities care about what. And you'll realize when you do your interviews that certain universities prioritize and put an emphasis on certain things more than others. And I'll talk more about how you can find out what universities want a little bit later on in the video. So the second tip is that when you're researching for these universities, you want to make sure that they're university specific. So you want to figure out what that university cares about. Like, do they really pride themselves on their new sports facilities? Do they really pride themselves on like their state-of-the-art dental facilities? They've probably heard this like a million times, but it's really important because when you go for your interview, you're showing them that you really do care about this university and that they're not just like a backup option. So yeah, make sure you do really thorough research. So the next tip is that obviously hundreds of people have applied to dental schools in the past years. They've probably seen it all, but it's really important to try to be unique if you can. There's actually quite a big scope of things that you can do to stand out. So before my interviews, I really did some brain dumping, and I thought of things that I could do that would make me stand out. So stuff like bringing in a suture kit and showing them my manual dexterity skills and stuff like that, because dentists do sutures, or maybe getting some like clay models and doing like the tooth morphology and like the anatomy of the tooth and stuff like that. So that's really like niche things. Like, it's not like groundbreaking at all, but trust me, these interviewees are like really easy to impress, and you're just giving them another reason to say yes to you, because literally that's what they want. So the next tip is that when you're preparing for these interviews, like, you really want to make sure that you're actually practicing the questions. Like, it's all good in saying that you're gonna like write out and script all of these answers and stuff like that, but that's not as good as actually practicing it. So getting anyone to ask you questions and stuff like that. So that's really important, because you won't get that practice being on the spot. Like, you'll get confident the more times you answer the questions or answer questions on the spot and stuff like that. It's very different than just like practicing in front of the mirror or practicing by writing out or memorizing and stuff like that. Like, really and truly, the people who are like confident in their skills, their people skills and stuff like that, those are the people who do the best in interviews. And that only happens through muscle memory and through skill and like practice, and you know, people in debate teams and stuff like that, they're going to do better. And obviously preparing for your interviews is going to be very different if you're doing an MMI style or if you're doing an interview style, and the way that you prepare for them are going to be very different. And you know, some stations are going to be more predictable than the others and stuff like that. But with both of them, there are very practical and efficient ways to prepare for them, and that's where MedicMind comes in. And stay tuned to the end, because they're giving a discount for all of you guys. So MedicMind have two different services, the interview course, and they also have one-on-one tutoring, and they give you step-by-step guidance on how to answer every single type of question, as well as how to tailor it to you to make it unique and so you can stand out in interviews. The course consists of 70+ video tutorials covering topics like motivation for dentistry, personality and skills, NHS hot topics, dental conditions, dental ethics, communication, data sets, and they even have over 100 MMI stations to practice from. And probably the most important part is that MedicMind offer university-specific guidance. So each university, like Queen Mary's, they know exactly what's going to come up, what kind of themes they're going to be going on, what kind of interview it is, all of that kind of stuff that you need to know, because they've tutored hundreds of people who've gone into their dream university. So they know exactly what they're going to ask, like what kind of questions they're going to ask, what they want to hear from you, all of that kind of stuff, and they can help you along the way. If you do feel like you need more help than that, then they do offer one-on-one tutoring sessions, and they are giving 70% off your first session if you're interested. All of these tutors are basically experts who are all going to the top universities in the UK, and they'll cover all the dental topics that you need to know, all the questions, and they'll make it tailored specifically to you so that your answers are very unique. And they'll make sure that your answers are unique to you and tailored to your experiences, your personal statements, stuff like that. You can personalize the lessons according to what you need so you can get the most support. So if you're 1 year away or if you're 1 week away, they also tailor it depending on how close you are to the interviews, what you struggle with, and they will be able to pinpoint exactly what you need to improve on. So you can get 10% off the interview course and 70% off the one-on-one tutoring off your first session if you use the link below, so check them out. So yes, following from that, it's really important that you not only practice with other people, that you also practice doing these specific questions. So obviously it's really important to use bullet points, so don't use a scripted way of like practicing, because you're going to choke up in the interview and you're going to forget where you were and you're going to like go mind blank and stuff like that. What you want to do is prepare like using like some like bullet points that you have in your head. So like any questions surrounding ethics, like you know what you're going to pull up on, all stuff like with motivation. You can have like a few bullet points that you can pull up on depending on what kind of question they ask, because sometimes it's not just why dentistry, it's a very specific question, but it's basically asking why dentistry. So yeah, those kind of things. And yeah, I did say that you should practice it. You should practice what kind of questions are coming up, but it's also important to practice with someone that you're quite uncomfortable with. This is kind of like opposite of what most people say, but I think it's really important not to just practice with your mom, because she's going to be someone you're really comfortable around, and messing up is not a problem. But like if you're being asked questions by some really random stranger that you've never met before, which is how it's going to be in the dental interview, it's very intimidating in front of that panel or MMI station, and they're all like professionally dressed and stuff like that. So you want to ask someone that you don't know, like in Medic Mind Tutoring, or like a person from school or something like that, that you can kind of arrange and get some practice in like that. Get them to ask really uncomfortable questions on the spot, stuff like that, that really gets you in that gear of, okay, this is how the interview is going to be. I'm prepping myself, so when you're in the interview, you're not like, this is the first time I'm doing this. Last few tips now. So before the interview, you want to make sure that you're not really that stressed. I know it's easier said than done, but when people are stressed, they choke up, they make mistakes, they say things that they didn't mean and stuff like that. So you really want to make sure that you're calm. You want to prepare being in like these high pressure scenarios and stuff like that, because it can really get to you in the interview. If you're not a people person and you have to pretend like you're a people person, it's very hard, especially for those introverted people. So you really want to just practice being calm and being like, you know, stress-free. I know that how it feels when it's like, this is your dream interview and this is what you want to get into, and believe that you're going to be fine, because you've literally gotten to this point. You've gotten through to the interview stage, and that means that you've passed so many other people who didn't even get to that stage. So believe that you have all the things that you need to pass this interview as well. And in the same vein, make sure you get to the interview on time. So it doesn't matter if you have train delays, you want to buffer for that. If you have, you know, you want to make sure exactly you know where it is, you know, traffic delays, you want to take all of this into consideration, because we all know that person who's been late for the interview. And when you're late for the interview, you best bet like you're not getting that offer, honestly, because they want someone who's prompt. Like they don't care if there was a snowstorm, like you better get there on time and prepare, like maybe even go like a day before or something like that. I know it's a bit tricky because a lot of interviews fall in within like the same week. Plan your route ahead of time and make sure you're ready, you're smart, professional, not stressed out, not huffing and puffing. Yeah, for your interview. So yeah, good luck with your interviews. I'll be back with dental school vlogs after this, so subscribe if you're interested, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.